right. Exciting days. And special guest appearance. Paul Demarco, I'm in a car.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, thanks for doing it, bud.
Yeah, I've been jealous all this time, seeing all these I'm in a cars, waiting for my invite, you know?
It's happening.
Awesome.
I'm stoked to do it. In classic I'm in a car fashion, we give people, I know a lot of people, know you, especially people watching this stuff, but might not have the backstory. So can you give people a little insight into kind of where you've come from and what you've been up to for the last couple of years, and then what you're doing now on the team?
Sure. So yeah, I'm Paul, co-founder of Intrigue with Rob, and we've been at this for 11 years. So right now I'm helping lead our operations team for a long time. I don't know, I've worn many different hats over time, from installing TVs on walls that have fallen off to troubleshooting all sorts of technology and learning all about batch files way back in the day. But yeah, more these days it's primarily playing coach to our operations team of about 12 people, and just learning more about marketing day in and day out so we can help our clients.
Sweet.
Yeah. And today, going to check a roadmap goal off to go see Arcade Fire with good old Robbie here.
Oh, yeah. Last time we saw him, Toronto Island, that was an epic show. I know last time it was Cleveland.
I guess it was, yeah.
That was
right.
great. Come back from Florida.
Yeah, sweet.
I'm stoked to see this show today. And it's in Windsor, of all places. I haven't been to Windsor before, so it's not on my roadmap to go to Windsor. Here we are.
Yeah, no.
So I knew we were going to have this drive together, so I had an opportunity to kind of cobble together what I thought might be a good conversation.
Okay.
And so I was hoping you might be able to share with us a little bit around what's happened in the last year. We've been in a bit of a neat situation where we've seen some really remarkable growth. We're honored and super grateful to be on the Profit 500 this year, which was epic. And I think we got a lot of we got a lot of recognition for it, which is amazing. But I think a lot of times, not everybody understands the pain that actually comes along with growth. And I know we've all heard like the old adage of growth pains, and if it doesn't hurt, you're not growing, and all that kind of stuff. But when people see things like Profit 500, it's like, hey, congratulations, but they don't necessarily know all the pain that goes along with it. So I was just curious, from your perspective, the last 12 months, we've seen crazy revenue growth, we've seen the team grow
substantially
in a big way. May 1st of 2016, we were at 12 team members, and then fast forward to October 1st, we're at 29 plus partners and interns. So from a leader in the organization, that kind of rapid growth in heart count, what has been some of the things that you've encountered and learned along the way?
A lot of things breaking, for sure. No, I mean, it's been an amazing year, and it's been a massive learning experience for us just to understand how to scale, how to grow. I think the biggest learning piece for us is how to move an office, which was a mission.
In the middle of all that, we moved offices.
Yeah, so I mean, within the last year, call it whatever, 6 to 8 months ago, Rob and I didn't have a desk, and we were in a kitchen nook working every day, which was also like our third meeting room. So that was, learning how to deal with that. But I think the biggest thing we like to learn is that you kind of have to go with the flow when you're growing at this kind of pace. Things will break and people will be stressed, and we have to, you gotta have to go through that. I think one of the things that we learned is that one of the things we're trying to do right now is build capacity to grow, which has been a good learning experience in itself. But how to grow a team has been a big, challenge, and how to scale time.
And if you got answers to these questions, please leave them in the comments below and tell us.
Yeah, we'll take them all day long. But I think the biggest thing about growing a team is, one of the things that we focus on all the time is building up our team and spending all this time coaching. And as the team grew so quickly, all of a sudden that coaching time got compounded a ton. So it became very difficult to scale that time. Even leader building this year, before we would read everybody's responses from the entire company and then respond to them every Sunday night.
Can you give a quick summary of what leader building is?
Yeah,
not everybody has heard it.
Leader building is a reading and writing program, kind of like a book club that we have at Intrigue, where people every week read a chapter of a book or have some sort of learning that they are encompassing upon, and every week they're essentially writing their takeaway from that and submitting it to the company, and they're getting feedback from us. And the whole idea is to create actionable learning, because learning without action doesn't have value. So if we can always be learning and taking action on it all the time, then if you have a team of 30 people taking action every week from what we're learning, we can make some pretty huge impact.
Yeah, it's huge.
So every week we'd be reading these comments and responding to them, and it was taking us many hours as the team grew. We had to find different systems to put in place to make it so that it's not all on our shoulders.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing that we're learning right now, and that we have learned, is how valuable systems are, which comes back to the first book that we have in our leader building program, which is the E-Myth, which we got gifted upon us once upon a time.
Good old Bill Luffy.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Bill Luffy. If you're watching this, thanks, dude.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Oh, yeah.
Taught us all about learning. Yeah, but yeah, it's all about system building. So that was one of the biggest things, and we're in a huge. Right now, we've got our company running on 4 different systems that we're learning how to integrate right now. So yeah, systems are really key to scalable growth.
Which is really interesting coming from two people that have very little structure in like any type of profile assessment we've ever done.
Yeah,
it's
next
like
to zero.
Slivers. But understanding in the big picture of things that we need to have systems that run the company and people that run systems. I think that's a really good point. So one of the things that I've noticed that I didn't realize when we were in the middle of it was going from 12 to 29 people. We had a really tight team of 12. We had, cultural values were defined. There was too many of them, so they weren't sticking. But we all kind of moved and grooved to the same type of beat.
Yep.
But then as we grew and we added pieces, the culture kind of shifted, and the norms of the group changed and weren't necessarily identified. And then when I was doing the EO forum training, the woman that was presenting us and training us brought in this idea of the classic thing I remember from Organizational Behavior University of forming, storming, norming, forming.
Yep.
Like the 4 stages of a team. And I realized we were at a level of performance with the 12 people. And as we layered people on, we had to go back to normalizing, and then we were in the storming phase, and it became tough. It was kind of frustrating. It was all these different personalities and ideas and perspectives, trying to kind of come at situations from different perspectives, which is healthy, but it slowed the pace of decision making down dramatically. And so I was just curious from your perspective, what have you learned, and what are you doing now differently than you were when we were 12 people when it comes to getting group decision making happening?
There's a lot of things. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different things we're trying, right? Like, I mean, we don't have...
Yeah, but what are you doing?
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a couple different things. One, right now, I'm batching all my coaching, which is kind of interesting. So if I have an idea that I want to bring to the team, that all my coaching time happens in a short period of time. So
it's like a couple days.
Yeah, so right now, most of it in a month. I meet with everybody monthly, almost for the most part. So that's all within like a 1 to 2 day period. So it's like I'm meeting with everybody so I can get everyone's perspective on something quickly. One-on-one. So that's a lot of time, obviously. But when I am doing it, I'm doing it in batches. And then we also are doing our roadmaps in batches as well, which is kind of interesting. So
yeah, it's been super helpful.
Yeah, so roadmaps are every 90 days with every member of the team, and it's all about essentially how we're serving each team member as a company, and then also trying to help each team member accomplish their goals, and making sure there's alignment between the company goals and the team member goals, and having those all together now really helps as well. So, but I think the biggest thing that we've done is implemented traction. Yeah, which has been a huge part for decision making. So, through joining Entrepreneurs Organization, we've got exposed to a system of traction and scaling up. Shout out to that.
Yeah, it's backwards because we're in a car. And it's reverse camera on my phone.
But we've taken traction by storm. Like, we've essentially, I'm not going to go through exactly what traction is, but we've developed an 8-person leadership team that's helping us make decisions, which has been really, really helpful. So
you can get the resources on eosworldwide.com.
There, it's nice and easy.
EOSworldwide.com. It's called the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and Traction is a book that really goes through the operating system, and it's been super helpful.
Yeah, so I mean, I think creating a leadership team was a huge part of how to make decisions. It's been really helpful for us because it's also helped us filter our things that we want to bring up. So instead of being erratic and being like, we have this new idea, let's implement it tomorrow, it has to get filtered by another group of individuals, so it keeps us in check a little bit,
Big time.
which is helpful. But then we also, as a group, set our 90-day priorities, we present them to the entire team, and then we have these roadmaps in behind them, all at the same time. So I find it's easy to create alignment and to create buy-in on things and just get everyone's perspective pretty quickly in a quick moment.
Yeah, so just to come back to the one-on-one idea, I think it's something that if you're growing a company, you might already have figured this out, or maybe you haven't, but, excuse me, about a year ago, I had this really great leadership mistake where I made a promise to somebody on the team months before the end of the year that I was going to be more clear in the vision of the company. And then one random morning, I decided to just dump my brain onto a whiteboard and give people an idea of like what the direction of the company was going to look like over the next 5-10 years. And it scared the shit out of people. And it was like so convoluted, and there wasn't a lot of like how in the plan, but it was more directional and conceptual. And then for the next 30 days, or January, because right before Christmas, I got a lot of feedback around, do I have a job now? Or like, does this mean we're going to stop doing what we're doing today? And I was just like, oh, shit, right? And to your point earlier about these one-on-ones, I think the one big lesson I learned is it's a lot easier to get feedback from somebody one-on-one than it is in a group environment.
100%.
And it's a really great opportunity to refine an idea before presenting to a group and understanding where people sit on the fence or off the fence, like what side they're on, before it gets presented.
Yeah, I mean, knowing your votes before we're getting into a group decision is huge. And oftentimes, it happened to me today, where somebody, wouldn't necessarily voice their opinion in a group, but in a one-on-one, they told me they didn't like the idea. And I was like, okay, this is really good. It all kind of kicked me in the teeth today that, we're trying to make quick decisions. I don't have one-on-ones with everybody all the time, but I really want to get this thing moving on our operations team.
Right.
And yeah, it's kind of like just because we want to act quick doesn't mean we always can. It's something you got to go through the motions and get everyone's understanding of an idea, because not everyone's going to share it when you're in a group of 15 people all trying to make group decisions, because it's decision by committee is challenging to say the least.
So on that note, this is something that came up in the I'm in a car I did with Brady Wilson.
Yeah.
So it's the concept, the idea of like taking one step back to take two steps forward. So slowing down to speed up. And it's something that I've learned rationally. Like I understand it to be true. I understand it needs to happen, but I always didn't understand how to do it. So I'd be like, okay, I get it. Slow down so everybody can speed up together. But what does that mean? And so when you talk about all these one-on-ones and these roadmaps and coaching and all this time with these people, what do you say to the person that is watching this and saying, I don't have time to do that?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have time not to. I think from my perspective, that's just the way that I believe that we want to run our company. Like, our company runs on people, and that's our greatest asset. And we need to make sure that they're being heard, and they've got the best ideas. Like, they're the ones working on all of our marketing plans or in the trenches every day.
Closest to the problems.
Yeah, they understand what's going on, and they're using the systems that we've developed, more than I am. So it's just really, I mean, I need to spend this time with them to understand their perspective of the company, and they need to be a part of it if we want them to stay, and if we want to have a 0% quit rate, which is a big goal of ours. We need to make sure that those opinions are getting heard, and that's just some of the most valuable time that we spend. But it's tough. I mean, it's a lot of time, right? It's not an easy thing, but
I just think it's actual teeth in the mechanism of one step back for two steps forward.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I think you really embody bringing that to life by slowing down your day and week and month to spend the time listening and making sure people are heard, so that we can unite as a united front, move forward faster.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. and it's a lot of time, but it pays off in spades in the long run, right? So,
and I think what you said at the very beginning of my question, what do you say to those people that say I don't have time? It's well, you don't have time. It's true, and like it's difficult for us to provide like tangible, like here's exactly how it's impacted us in this time. Like I mean, we could probably go back and try to figure that out, but you gotta kind of have some faith in the idea that the more you listen to your team, the more time we take understanding that perspective creates more organizational speed.
For sure, and I think the more that your companies align, but the more like your company enjoys each other. Like we have a team huddle, give or take every single morning where we're getting together as a group, and on the books it's an expensive time. Like it's like I think we calculated as like a $750 morning every morning as a group or something. But so it's expensive. Yeah. But that said, like what's the value of a smile? How do you measure that? And the value of a laugh together as a group, like every single day. And in those one-on-ones, the value of having someone listen, the value of a tear being shed, because that happens from time to time, and the value of building camaraderie, rapport, and, trust, I guess, is the biggest thing. So there's no bigger way to ask for someone's hand than to win a heart, as we talk about a lot. And that's where you win hearts every day.
That's cool. So if you were to go back to Paul Demarco 10 years ago, because I mean, according to CRA, we started Intrigue Media in 2007.
Sure.
With all the lessons you've learned, what's the one thing you'd go tell yourself that you wish you knew then that you know now?
Oh, it's funny. I asked that question a lot to people. I think the biggest thing is take the time to listen and listen to everybody around you. For me, it's been the most valuable lesson, and I wish I had learned it earlier. I feel like leadership through listening is the thing that's, really helped our company grow. And that to do anything meaningful, it takes time. And things don't happen overnight. When we started this, we talked about we're going to have this crazy big company in 2 years and
move to BC.
Yeah, it's just go. But just be patient. Good things take time. And if you want to change the world, it's going to take a long, long time to do it. And just act one day at a time and act with purpose. It took us forever to figure out our purpose and why we came to work every day. At the beginning, we were just in this business to, be in business, right? And I feel like you can make such large impact right away if you understand what your purpose is and why you're getting out of bed every day, and what kind of impact you want to change in the world. So, ours is to empower leaders to strengthen communities, and I think that's finding that sooner rather than later would be a big piece of advice that I'd give to my 10-year-old or myself 10 years ago.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this, dude.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Hopefully we get a couple more in from time to time.
Yeah, all right, we'll see what happens tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys.